Hey, it's Erin from Book Things and Baubles, and today I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about the Glowforge. So, I know the biggest question I had when thinking about purchasing a Glowforge was, what is it going to cost me? And thankfully this information is really easy to find on Glowforge's website, but I will break down the prices for you just in case you haven't seen them. And in this video, I am just talking about the cost of the Glowforge. If you're interested in a video actually breaking down the different kinds of Glowforge that you can purchase, I'll be doing a video on that soon. But the least expensive Glowforge you can buy is the Glowforge Basic. This runs about $3,000, and if you use a referral code, you can get $125 off of that price. Next up is the Glowforge Plus. This is the Glowforge that I have, and this one runs about $4,000. After everything was said and done, after I got my $250 off of this Glowforge by using someone else's referral link, I in total ended up paying $4,016 for my Glowforge. You might be going, oh, well, you said that you got the $250 off. Why was it still like $4,000? So I went back and I double checked my purchase order, and I did get the discount, but then the taxes on the Glowforge ended up being like $270. So that is why I ended up still paying $4,000. But if you think that you're going to have to pay those taxes anyway, whether you use the discount or not, the discount kind of just balances out those taxes that you're going to have to pay. And finally, there is the Glowforge Pro, which will cost about $6,000. But again, if you use someone's referral link, mine is down below. If you would like to use mine, then you can get $500 off of that Pro. And someone on one of my previous videos said that the shipping times on the Glowforge Plus and I think maybe even the Glowforge Basic were really far out, but after checking out the Glowforge website, it looks like shipping times are back to a reasonable amount, about 2 to 4 weeks depending on which model you decide to purchase. And next I want to talk about the size of the Glowforge. The Glowforge is actually a pretty big machine. I mean, it's not as big as like an industrial size laser printer, but it is still a pretty big machine, so you want to make sure that you have room for it in your house. So the official Glowforge measurements as listed on their website are 38 inches by 20.75 inches by 8.25 inches, with the ability to have material that's half an inch thick if you have the crumb tray in, or 2 inches thick without the crumb tray. However, you do have to keep in mind that you do have the air hose that will add a few extra inches to the back of the Glowforge and make it so that you really can't put it flat against the wall. So just be sure to plan for that. So where should you place your Glowforge inside of your house? The first and most important thing is to have it near a window, especially if you don't get the air filter, which costs like an extra $250. So I have mine placed downstairs because I wanted it out of the way of the living area. And then you also want to make sure that you have a sturdy surface to keep your Glowforge on that is big enough to accommodate the measurements from the last section. And the next big question most people have is, what materials can I cut, engrave, and work with in my Glowforge? So here are some materials that I've worked with and other materials I hope to work with, and then just a list of materials that you can actually use in your Glowforge. First up is tile. I have a video linked up above if you want to learn how to work with tile, but I mainly work with wood in my Glowforge. That's kind of my wheelhouse. Next is glass. I also have a video on how to engrave glass up in the little eye if you want to check that out. It's a great beginner project. And cardboard. This is a great way to recycle Amazon boxes and create some of your own packaging. And next is acrylic. Acrylic is a really popular medium to print with the Glowforge because it gives you such pretty, like, professional results. So I love working with acrylic. And next is leather. I've never actually worked with leather, but as you can see, I have something I plan to work with. And next is silicone, so you can make these little bracelets, anything with silicone. And next is rubber. So a lot of people make custom stamps with their Glowforge, which I haven't tried yet, but I'm looking forward to. And corkboard is another one that people like to engrave and cut. I got these coasters from IKEA. I also got this bamboo board from IKEA, so you can do bamboo as well. Custom cutting boards are really big right now. And then cardstock. You can actually cut cardstock with your Glowforge. Obviously, this is not a comprehensive list, but I will link down below Glowforge's official materials list. And now it's time to get into the basic functions of the Glowforge. What can you do with your Glowforge, and what can you expect to do when you actually get your Glowforge and start printing? So the three basic functions that the Glowforge performs are first, cutting, next, engraving, third, scoring, and then fourth, you can choose to ignore any part of your design. So here's an example of a cut and engraved design that I made with the Glowforge. So the engraved part is the words and the heart. It's engraved, etched into the wood, and then you're able to cut out shapes and designs out of wood and the other materials that we talked about earlier. And here is an example of scoring. So the crayon logo, all of those little lines, those are scored lines, meaning that it's not like engraved. The Glowforge didn't use a ton of power to actually dig down and take away some of the wood, but it's just a fine line that just scores the surface of whatever material you're working with. And so here you can kind of see the difference between the engraved and the score and the cut that you can make with Glowforge. Now let's go over the basic settings of the Glowforge. How do you get it to cut, engrave, or score the way you want it to? With any of these settings, you can either use the Glowforge pre-made settings. So these are great to use if you are using Glowforge proof grade materials, or I found that you can even use those pre-made settings for equivalent materials most of the time. So even if you didn't buy your maple plywood thick, which would be like a 1/4 inch, even if you didn't buy that from Glowforge, you can usually use those same settings on whatever uncertified material you're using, and it will work just fine. But it is good to know about the Glowforge manual settings, just in case you do work with a new material that you need to put in new settings for, or in case the Glowforge settings just don't really look good for whatever uncertified material you're using. So that's what I'm going to go over now. So there are different settings you'll be able to put in depending on if you're cutting, engraving, or scoring. So for cutting, the first option that comes up is speed. And with cutting, the highest speed you can have is 500. And this is because usually to cut through something, you have to take it slow and have a lot of power, which is why you can only go up to 500. This is also why most of the time when you are trying to cut something with the Glowforge, you'll have the power either on full power or very, very high up there if you're trying to cut through something. And then you're also able to specify how many times you want the Glowforge to pass over the same route using these settings. So I have in the past had to do multiple passes on pieces of wood with certain settings, just because the first time it didn't cut all the way through, but I didn't want to up the power or put down the speed. So in that case, you can actually just do multiple passes. And then you're actually able to save your settings, which is super nice, because then you don't have to keep putting them in over and over every time you cut something. You can just click and get on with your print. And next is engraving. So engraving has most of the same options as cutting, with a couple more added in. So again, you have speed. You'll notice that with engraving it can go up to 1,000, and I know that Glowforge has been beta testing even faster speeds as well. And then you can also specify the power. And the last engrave setting is lines per inch. Basically, the higher the number, the higher quality that your print is going to be, but the higher the number, the longer the print is going to take. And next are the score settings. Score settings are the same as cut settings, so you have the option of speed, power, and passes. After you have your material in the Glowforge and have your settings all ready and your design where you want it, then you just push the ready button up in the top right hand corner, and the Glowforge does some configuring, sends some signals to some Google data storage places, and then bounces back with a time for how long your print is going to take. And after that, you're able to just push the start button and watch your print. I'm not gonna lie, watching the Glowforge print is still one of my favorite parts of having this machine. It's just so cool. And next, I'm going to go over the perks of the Glowforge Premium subscription. So in a lot of videos you'll see people making shapes on the Glowforge or putting in text, and I deliberately left that out of my explanation of the Glowforge up until this point, because adding in text from the Glowforge dashboard, adding in the shapes, adding in an outline, all of those things are part of the Glowforge Premium perks. So when you get your Glowforge, you'll get the first month of that free, and then be able to decide if you want to get Glowforge Premium. But the reason why I wanted to make sure that you know that these are part of the Glowforge Premium subscription is because I feel like that was something that wasn't made super clear to me before I purchased the Glowforge, and it's one of those things that I wish I would have known about before. And if you're curious about other things I wish I would have known before I bought a Glowforge, check out the video up in the corner. But having a Glowforge Premium subscription does have a lot of perks. Like I said, you're able to add in text, you're able to add in free clip art, you're able to make shapes, you're able to do outlines, you're able to export your designs, you are able to save unlimited designs on your dashboard with the Glowforge Cloud. And that has actually saved my butt a couple of times with my business when my computer crashed, but I was still able to print off some orders for people by using my phone and having those designs saved and just ready to use in the dashboard. So there are a lot of perks to the Glowforge Premium subscription, and you can find a full list of the Glowforge Premium perks at the description down below on the Glowforge website. But there are a lot of perks. You can get free designs to use and to sell in your shop and in your store, and every month they come out with a new free design that you can use. Like I said, they have the graphics library, they have different tools, unlimited design storage, and another perk is you get to be in the Glowforge Fast Lane. So basically you and your prints go on the Glowforge Fast servers because you're paying some extra money, so your prints can get done a little faster. So I would definitely suggest checking out the link below of the different perks you can get with the Glowforge Premium, just to help you make an informed decision about what is right for you and if you want to continue using Glowforge Premium after your initial trial ends. And finally, I want to show you where to go to find answers to any questions you might have about the Glowforge. Whether you are just researching the Glowforge, or maybe you're running into some trouble with a print or with the machine itself, this is where I always go to find answers, and it's just a plethora of wealth. And that is the Glowforge Community tab. So basically there is a Glowforge forum where you can ask questions, you can research tips and tricks. If you are looking into printing on a new material, you can type it into the search box, see if anyone else has printed with it, and a lot of times you can find settings for different materials that way. And then there's also a place where you can ask questions if you are having trouble with your Glowforge. I know that I've had trouble with the camera sometimes, and so I hopped on there and was able to find an answer to resolve my issue. And so I highly recommend checking out the Glowforge community forum. And then there is also Glowforge support itself. So they have a troubleshooting space, and then they also have an email address that you can email Glowforge if you're having issues and can't find an answer online. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that this video was helpful if you are new to the Glowforge or considering purchasing a Glowforge. I would appreciate it if you would consider using my referral link. I've got it linked down below. And like I mentioned at the beginning, this can give you money off of a Glowforge, and it also gives me credits. And also consider subscribing. I make Glowforge related videos every single Wednesday, and I would love to have you here for all of them. So thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.